Tonight on CTV News at 6, rage in Chambers.
That was so f***ing rude. F*** you, Joanne, right? F*** you.
City councillors spar after days of infill debate. A difficult decision for a local legion.
We can't keep going like this where we're just barely making things meet.
And changes to paid public parking.
2 hours was not enough time to park, go to a show, go and actually have dinner.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. As our neighbors to the south celebrate July 4th with fireworks, Edmonton City Council also saw some fireworks today. City councillors have a difficult decision to make, one that will impact how Edmonton grows and changes for decades to come. At City Hall, councillors are on day 3 of hearing from the public on the explosion of infill houses and multiplexes in the 18 months since the new zoning bylaw kicked in. As CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports, the proposed changes represent a compromise not everyone wants.
When Shepka. Nope.
3 days into the public hearing on infill housing rules, council chambers are looking less crowded. Fewer and fewer of the 150-plus Edmontonians registered are answering as the mayor calls their names to speak.
Alex Yang, remote 100%, no.
Many of those who had the stamina and free time to wait until day 3 gave their thoughts over video call. Even 5 councillors attended the hearing virtually. Despite the apparent drop in interest, Mayor Amarjeet Sohi says the discussion remains important as ever, especially for mature neighborhoods.
Where we have seen population decline, where we have seen, decline of, corner store businesses, decline of school enrollments. So this is really about how we build a better future.
Infill homes and especially multiplexes are popping up in mature neighborhoods, projects made easier by the new zoning that kicked in last year.
This bylaw and this council will go down in history as responsible for the destruction of this city and the character of our neighborhoods.
Loss of trees, sunlight, parking, and privacy. I share this as a cautionary tale for all of you who may not realize exactly how crushing this experience is to a family who has had the rug pulled out from underneath them.
Once council hears from everyone, it will debate a number of changes, including reducing the maximum units on a mid-block lot from 8 to 6, requiring more windows on the front of a building, and shrinking the maximum building length by 2 meters. For some, a reasonable compromise. For others, a pointless roadblock.
The seemingly small change from 8 to 6 would take the project off the table, not just for us, but for anyone else hoping to build something like it.
And Jeremy Thompson joins us now live from City Hall with the latest. Jared, the public speaking section has wrapped up and the meeting suddenly got jolted back to life. What happened?
I mean, did it ever, Jeff? It's not often that you hear cursing in council chambers, but that is exactly what happened as council debated whether to extend this meeting into next week, which is supposed to be the beginning of council's summer vacation, summer break. And some councillors, of course, have holidays already booked, already planned for that time. And they also really want to be able to participate in this vote. And they said that, look, if they're on holiday, they wouldn't likely have the internet connection or ability to make that vote. Then this exchange happened.
This is a normal course of business with things ramping up, and I would think that maybe the incumbents would have been aware of that. I wasn't, but I've been able to adjust my schedule for the most part. I will have to step away.
Point of order. That was so rude, Mr. Mayor. That was so f***ing rude. F*** you, Joanne, right? F*** you.
Councillor Sarah Hamilton later issued this statement to CTV. Obviously, it was not the most parliamentary language, but last-minute schedule changes are not easily managed by both staff and council. The cruel attack on her colleagues for having personal commitments that are not easily changed betrays her ignorance of how constructive governing bodies are actually run. Now, I was able to speak with Councillor Joanne Wright just a few minutes ago on this, and she says that, while she was surprised by the language, she's otherwise unbothered by it. bit, and speaking with a few other councillors as they came out of council chambers, they expressed some empathy for both councillors involved here. This has been quite a long week of fairly intense meetings, and this is kind of the tail end of that. Council did eventually vote to extend this meeting into next week, Tuesday to be exact, and so it remains to be seen which councillors will be able to attend and vote on that. Of course, all of them really would like to, as we have just been over. This is quite an important decision for Edmonton, for the future of the city here. It's also shaping up to be quite an election issue as well. So, Jeff, we'll tell you more what happens here on Tuesday.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. That's Jeremy Thompson live at City Hall tonight for us. Edmonton is making changes to how people can pay for parking on city streets. It's also hearing more from Edmontonians about the new Hotspot app. CTV's Evan Kenny has more on what's being said.
With the new system, you can kind of just add more hours to your parking from your phone.
Phoenix Williams likes the city's changes to parking, now allowing people to pay and park for more than 2 hours on city streets, weekdays between 4 and 9 p.m. and all day on the weekends.
2 hours was not enough time to park, go to a show, go and actually have dinner, maybe go check out some other businesses in the area.
The 2-hour limit will remain during the day, as the city still wants parking turnover during business hours. The change comes as people get used to the removal of e-park machines and the new Hotspot app.
I will say it's a big change for Edmontonians.
The city stopped using e-park machines back in the middle of April. Now they use these QR codes or the Hotspot app to pay.
When you get flare-ups of issues, that is concerning, and that does get the alarm bells going that maybe we should be taking a second look.
311 received 422 calls about e-park in April when the city was changing payment methods. In May, that number dropped just below 300. Last month, calls climbed above 500 when the city physically removed e-park machines.
Having that increase also makes sense to us because customers are really asking about the change and how to shift to the Hotspot app.
Edmontonians we spoke to don't seem to have questions with the new method.
I'm a millennial, so I naturally just want to use the technology. So yeah, I was just sitting here, punched in the code, and it's been a pretty easy process so far.
Sometimes when I go out for dinner, I can just do it when I'm at the table and stuff, and it's good because it saves your payment types, so I like that about it.
Some people have noticed differences in parking availability between the app and what signage in the area reads. The city says, when in doubt, trust the apps. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
A bridge in Strathcona County is being assessed after it was damaged by a truck hauling a grain silo. Just after the noon hour, a driver in a pickup truck hauling the silo struck the underside of the Highway 21 bridge. RCMP say it caused significant damage. The silo was also knocked off the trailer and was blocking traffic on the road. A bridge engineer was called to the scene to assess if the bridge can reopen. Traffic is moving below on Highway 14. Police have laid charges in a crash last summer that injured a local restaurant owner and his infant son. Last August, a car struck Ryan Brodziak, his son, and his dog. Police say the car crossed into oncoming traffic and jumped the curb. A GoFundMe says Brodziak sustained a significant spinal cord injury and remains paralyzed. His 11-month-old son suffered a skull fracture. RCMP have now charged a 67-year-old man. A GoFundMe for the family has raised nearly $300,000. A local man convicted of killing a 7-year-old girl with scissors has had his appeal dismissed. David Moss was found guilty of second-degree murder in the 2020 stabbing death of Bella DeRosier. Moss was a friend of DeRosier's mother and was staying at their house at the time. At trial, Moss admitted to the killing but argued he was not criminally responsible. He appealed the trial judge's ruling, arguing again he should not have been found criminally responsible due to a mental disorder or that he should have been convicted of a lesser charge. The Court of Appeal of Alberta denied the request, saying Moss failed to disclose any reviewable error. As opioid-related deaths hit a new high in Edmonton, police are warning about an increase in Carfentinyl being detected in street drugs.
It is a very minuscule amount. I mean, it's smaller than what you would need in the previous, when we talked about fentanyl.
The province says Carfentinyl is 100 times more potent than fentanyl. It says that drug was involved in 70% of opioid deaths in Edmonton during the first 3 months of this year. March had the highest number of opioid-related deaths in Edmonton since the province started collecting that data nearly 10 years ago. Alberta's new referendum rules are now in effect. Starting today, the new threshold to hold a referendum will be 177,000 signatures collected within 4 months. The Premier has talked about separatist sentiment being a big reason for the move. People who want Alberta to stay in Canada and those who want Alberta to leave have already started applying for petitions. Smith has said she wants Alberta to stay in Canada and is blaming federal policies for the separatist sentiment. Pier Polyv is now registered to run in the August 18th by-election in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot. The seat became available after Conservative MP Damien Curick stepped down, giving Polyv a chance to return to the House of Commons. Polyv lost his Ottawa area seat to Liberal MP Bruce Fanjoy in the April election. The managing partner for the Energy City CactusRats says frustrated season ticket holders will not receive a refund. Multiple season ticket holders have demanded refunds because they expected home games to be played in the team's new ballpark in Spruce Grove. The ballpark is still under construction. Ticket holders shared emails with CTV News that said they were put on a refund list. The team's managing partner, Pat Cassidy, says that was just an internal list to keep track of people who asked for their money back. He says it's league policy to not issue refunds, and fans will only get credit for future games.
But I can almost guarantee you that nobody was ever necessarily promised a refund. We try not to do that. In the sports and entertainment industry, you basically, pay it forward. Games rained out, we give you a rain check.
Cassidy also told CTV News today a 540-unit self-storage space is being built underneath the ballpark concourse. Members of the Kingsway Legion will soon be forced to make a difficult decision regarding the building's future. The president says the Legion is struggling to stay afloat and has been for years. CTV's Merrick DeCash reports.
It's a beautiful place, and I like coming here. It'd be sad to see it go.
Grant Ferguson is a member of the Kingsway Legion. He wasn't surprised when he heard the building could go up for sale.
I would like to see him find a way to keep it and get a good enough business case together so that they can run it as a going forward as a good business.
The Legion's president says it's been able to just barely get by over the last 4 years following the COVID pandemic.
I mean, if we sold this place, we'd probably be able to buy another one and still have some money in the bank and not be mortgage poor.
Earlier this week, the Legion sent letters to its membership of more than 1,000, notifying them of a meeting on July 29th where a vote will take place. One option is leasing half the building to bring in more money. The other is putting the building up for sale and finding a smaller, more affordable property.
We're keeping our head afloat right now, but we're looking down the road too, and we can't keep going like this where we're just barely making things meet.
The Legion has tried to hold more fundraising events. However, that hasn't translated financially.
We can't have an event every week and expect it to fill every time because they just don't have the, with an older clientele, you're not going to get that.
Members still have plenty of questions ahead of the meeting.
What part are you going to split off? If you tear it down, what's going to be built in here? Where are you going to build a new one?
Ferguson and other members will cast a vote here at the Legion in just over 3 weeks. Merrick DeCash, CTV News, Edmonton.
The City of Edmonton wants you to help keep its urban forests safe. The city is launching an Urban Forest Ambassador program. Volunteers can sign up and receive free training to detect early signs of threats to trees, in particular Dutch elm disease and emerald ash borer. They'll report their findings to the city and raise awareness in their communities. Although emerald ash borer has not been found in Edmonton at this point, the city is actively watching for it. Edmonton has seen 5 positive cases of Dutch elm disease.
Up until now, Edmonton has been the largest population of unaffected elms from Dutch elm disease in the world. We were prepared for it. It just seemed a matter of when it would arrive, not if. And one of the things that we can do to help stop the spread of Dutch elm disease is to know the signs.
The first training session is scheduled for next Thursday. More information can be found on our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca. The Edmonton International Street Performers Festival is underway downtown. Performers from around the world are in Churchill Square. From circus acts to comedy, music, and gravity-defying feats, they'll be ready to entertain Edmontonians all weekend. And it's not just entertainers, it's meteorologists as well, like Josh Glosson. Josh.
I am not doing any street performing down here, just to clarify. We have trained professionals for that. And to tell us a little bit more about it, we've got Liz Hobbs, Director of Programming and Communications with Edmonton Street Fest. How are you?
I'm great. We are opening a festival. It is all happening.
You know what? The 5 o'clock, the opening ceremonies and everything went off without a hitch. Everybody, huge crowds.
Yeah, it was beautiful, amazing. I mean, the square is full of people. Yeah. I could not be happier.
The weather is going to cooperate, it looks like, for most. We'll talk a little bit more about the forecast in a second. But tell me what people can expect when they come down here. What should they prepare?
For awesomeness, generally. Yeah, there's lots and lots of circus stuff. There's lots and lots of workshops. There's things for people to do, to get involved with. There's kids programming. There's all kinds of things. I mean, come ready to laugh. Come ready to be amazed. And come with that thing that we may remember from before 2020, which is called cash.
Yeah, it's always nice to leave a generous donation afterwards for the performers. We were seeing a couple of performers here. This is Cirque-tastic.
Yes, Cirque-tastic will be at the festival all week long. They will be doing a lot of this, but they're also teaching aerial workshops over in Busker Academy. So if you've ever wanted to try hanging upside down on some aerial silks, these two are going to sort you out. So you can give that a try. I think they've got an aerial hoop over there too. So yeah.
There is, there's an aspect to this where you can participate, not just come out and watch. There's also the parade.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a parade. So you can come down at like 3:30 or after and build yourself a parade craft and join a bunch of the festival performers in a small parade around the area that'll end in a little mini show. Sangia, West African Dance and Music Academy are going to come down and lead that and give us a cool performance, which is awesome. So you can be part of the thing and then watch a thing.
Sounds like a great time. If you want more information on that, EdmontonStreetFest.com. Right?
You got it.
Okay, and this runs until Sunday the 13th, 10 to 10 every day except for the last day, correct?
Correct. We end at 6 on the 13th, but otherwise 10 to 10 every day.
And the weather will be perfect for the vast majority of the... I know. Well, we'll get to the 5-10. Liz, thank you so much. Temperatures right now in the mid to upper teens around the Edmonton region. We're at 17 degrees downtown Edmonton, 16 just off to the east of the city. Wind has died down. It was a little gusty earlier in the day today, and the air quality has improved. It was in the moderate risk range for much of the day, but is now in the low risk range across most of the city. 18 degrees for a daytime high puts us 5 degrees cooler than average. Should be a little closer to average tomorrow. 10 degrees in the morning with a bit of sunshine and then some increasing cloud late in the day. High of 22 with risk of some thunderstorms tomorrow evening and a chance of showers or periods of rain for Sunday morning. So we'll take a closer look at that and have the rest of your 5 and 10 day forecast in just a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Stay with us. Coming up, kicking off the Stampede, Shania style.
The spirit of the West is alive and well here in Calgary.
A look at the start of the greatest outdoor show on earth. Also next.
Measles is world class in its ability to infect people with relatively minor amounts of contact.
With thousands crowding into Calgary Stampede Park, Alberta doctors are warning about the spread of measles. The Calgary Stampede grounds are packed with people after this morning's parade kicked off the festival. Crowds lined the 5-kilometer route in downtown Calgary. An estimated 330,000 people attended, about 30,000 more than last year, as culture, community, and cowboy spirit took center stage. 5,000 plus participants and 700 horses joined alongside dancers, drummers, and some spectacular floats on display. Country music icon Shania Twain served as this year's parade marshal ahead of her performance tomorrow night at the Saddle Dome. She calls this one of the biggest honors she's ever received.
This is really just about a personal exchange with Calgary, with the Stampede, and I'll feel like this is my grand welcome. The spirit of The West is alive and well here in Calgary.
The festival generates an estimated $280 million for Calgary's economy. Stampede organizers say they hope the global attention following the G7 in Kananaskis has kept the spotlight on Alberta and translates into record attendance and long-term growth. Nearly 1.5 million people are expected to pour through the Stampede gates over the next 10 days. With measles cases rising in our province, doctors are warning particular people to be careful. Jacqueline Wilson reports.
Whether it's a packed parade, midway, or indoor Stampede event, people are everywhere, and that might include people infected with measles, a highly contagious virus that can remain in the air for a couple of hours.
Measles is world-class in its ability to infect people with relatively minor amounts of contact. So I think the question would be more, where couldn't you get it at the Stampede? And the answer to that is probably outside, probably in rides where, there's a lot of movement.
Dr. Talbot says Stampede checks the boxes for potentially being a super spreader event as Alberta experiences an outbreak.
One, you need to have a highly infectious virus, and measles qualifies for that. There needs to be activity in the province, which is still happening, and you need to have venues in which large numbers of people from around the world will gather together.
As people made their way to the grounds, few are concerned.
No, we don't have any concern about that. We're okay, I think.
Didn't even think about it. No, not really. They've all been vaccinated, so that's probably part of it.
No, because I've been vaccinated.
The most recent reporting shows there are 11 new cases of measles in Alberta, bringing the total to 1,190.
We are concerned that there will be broader measles spread, and in particular, people from either regions of the province that haven't had measles yet or other parts of Canada or internationally.
While the risk to fully vaccinated adults is relatively low, it's those who are not vaccinated, pregnant, under 5 years old, or immunocompromised who should be careful.
The individual risk is relatively low, especially if you're fully vaccinated.
Meantime, Alberta Health Services is warning of another potential measles exposure in our city. AHS says an infectious person was at the Grey Nuns Hospital yesterday between 4 and 7:15 p.m. Anyone who was there during that time should monitor themselves for symptoms. AHS says if symptoms do develop, you should stay home and call the measles hotline before visiting a healthcare facility. Stay with us. Up next, creative clothing.
It's all one of a kind and unique, and it takes unwanted textiles and gives them a second life.
How a local business is taking one person's trash and making it another person's fashion statement.
If you're coming down to the Street Performers Festival this weekend, I think tomorrow, weather-wise, is probably better than Sunday. A little wet, especially early in the day Sunday. We'll have a full 5-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. Programming brought to you by Century Casino, 3 great locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Recent data shows more Canadians are shopping secondhand for clothing. At the same time, Canadians are trashing millions of pieces of clothing each year. Now, local designers are taking those two things and making something of them. CTV's Naramanisa reports.
This was a beautiful little linen dress that I found, but it was very stained.
It was a tarnished dress slated for the landfill. Instead, it got a bit of TLC.
So it turned what was going to be thrown out because it was so stained into something that is now wearable.
Lorraine Desmond thrifts pieces for her clothing company. They're adorned with scraps of clothing too damaged to donate.
It's all one of a kind and unique, and it takes unwanted textiles and gives them a second life.
Like someone else's trash is someone else's treasure.
Designer Emily Whiston-Smith grew up thrifting. She's now turned her hobby into a business.
And I found so much joy in having unique pieces that other people didn't have, and the self-expression that comes along with that.
The clothes are sold out of the welded hanger on White Ave.
It started off as consignment. I just started to get more and more customers coming in requesting items from a small upcycled rack that I had.
Both thrifting and textile waste is on the rise in Canada. A report by Trendix found in 2023, more than $4.2 billion in used clothing were sold. A University of Waterloo study shows in that same year, nearly 500 million kilograms of fabric ended up in landfills.
And especially like in this fast fashion world where we just kind of want the next thing, we've kind of forgot that the next thing can be something that's pre-loved.
A sustainable way to update your closet.
You know, try on some of these items. You'd be shocked at what you leave with.
Helping save money and Mother Earth. Naranisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, summer festival season is here. One of them is the Street Performers Festival in Churchill Square, and that's where Josh is hanging out tonight. Josh.
Yeah, not just me. There's a ton of people that are down here for opening night of the Street Performers Festival. Runs through this weekend, all of next week, and then the following weekend wraps up on the 13th. And if you were with us earlier in the newscast, we said for 99% of that time, weather looks pretty good. We'll show you what we mean in a second. Take a look outside right now, though, through the River Valley Skycams. Brought to you by Action Furnace. Action Furnace, fixed right or it's free. 17 degrees, and we have seen a little bit of clearing. Clouds were fairly thick through the first half of the day today, but they have started to break now, and I think we'll see a little more clearing overnight tonight. 18 degrees for a daytime high, 21 in Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie. Red Deer hitting 20 this afternoon. There you can see the clearings. There was no big system that was producing the clouds over the Edmonton area. It was just kind of this small little area of cloud cover that was hovering over the city. That's now started to break. You got some thicker clouds in the south and some rain moving into southern Alberta, and we do have some showers as well off into northeastern Alberta. Now, the air quality earlier today, as we mentioned, was you could smell some smoke in the area, and depending on where you were in the city, north end of the Edmonton region was worse than sort of downtown and the south side of the city. All of the reporting stations now around the city have improved significantly, low to moderate risk, and that's what we're expecting for the rest of tonight and through the weekend as well. More rain on the way for southern Alberta overnight and into tomorrow morning. There's two areas tomorrow afternoon that we're watching for some severe weather. One in western Alberta and one across the north from Peace River east towards Fort McMurray. There is the potential for severe thunderstorms that could produce some large hail, potentially damaging wind gusts, some really, really significant amounts of rain, especially with the storms coming in from the west, and can't rule out the risk of a tornado across northern Alberta. So we'll keep an eye on the severe thunderstorm watches and warnings as the day progresses tomorrow. Here in Edmonton, we'll start with some sunshine. Clouds will increase in the afternoon, and you can see through the evening hours, there's at least the chance of those storms pushing through the Edmonton area, as is always the case. I mean, those storms are not going to hit every single region, but there is a pretty decent chance that we'll, at least in the Edmonton area, have some showers and thunderstorms developing late tomorrow. And then as that low starts to get a little more organized, steadier rain, it looks like, for the first half of the day Sunday. That kind of breaks down and moves off to the east through Sunday afternoon. And I think by Sunday afternoon, we'll actually see some sunny breaks here in the city. 17 degrees in Edmonton right now, some low 20s across the north, where you'll be in the low 20s tomorrow afternoon. And here in Edmonton, we'll be in the low 20s tomorrow afternoon as well. So a couple degrees warmer than today. 10 to start, 22 in the afternoon. And the wind, which was gusting up around 30, 35 earlier today, should be fairly light tomorrow. Chance of a storm tomorrow night. Rain overnight tomorrow into Sunday morning. 19 Sunday afternoon, but we're right back to the mid-20s and drier for Monday, Tuesday, and highs near 30 still in the forecast for Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, Jeff, with mid to upper 20s for the end of next week. So you're going to want to bring some sunscreen and maybe an umbrella for shade, especially Tuesday, Wednesday.
Sounds fantastic. Thanks, Josh. Still to come, a surge in spending.
This is now surreal. I mean, we're sitting on a deficit that's already probably $70 billion without doing any of these.
How much Canada's deficit could grow if election promises are added in. Plus,
Fireball, but not really. It's the wrong color.
An Alberta couple catches a rare weather phenomenon on camera.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. Programming brought to you by Federated Co-ops. Find your summer sweepstakes. Unlock your chances to win at your local co-op.
At least 13 people are confirmed dead, and 23 young campers from a girls' summer camp are missing after a flash flood in central Texas. More than a month's worth of rain fell in just a few hours overnight, as much as 25 centimeters. Pushed a river nearly 8 meters above normal levels in just 45 minutes.
This came at night when people were asleep in bed. Please pray for our community.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the state is sending all available resources to the area. And one person is dead, more than 24 injured after Russia's largest aerial assault on Ukraine since the war began. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched 550 drones and missiles overnight. Kyiv was the primary target. Authorities say the attack killed one person and injured at least 26 more. The strike on the capital happened hours after Donald Trump spoke with his Russian counterpart. The U.S. president later said he doesn't think Vladimir Putin is looking to stop the fighting. Trump spoke with Ukraine's president today. Volodymyr Zelensky says they discussed air defenses, joint defense production, and purchases. Ottawa's ambitious defense spending plan is expected to significantly raise Canada's deficit in the coming years. The Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives is predicting, to keep finances in order, that extra spending will be offset with cuts to the public service. CTV's Michael Couture reports.
Canada will achieve NATO's 2% of GDP target this year.
That promise will cost the government $9 billion this fiscal year. But a new study by the C.D. Howe Institute says when you add in other election promises, Canada's deficit could balloon to $92 billion.
This is now surreal. I mean, we're sitting on a deficit that's already probably $70 billion without doing any of these. Surely they're not going to come, but they were in the election platform.
That platform also promised to offset spending by finding billions in operating efficiencies. A report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives believes that will mean cuts to the public service.
That's 24%, which would actually be the biggest cut to federal government operating expenditures ever for those departments.
Both think tanks say their reports are estimates based on available data in the absence of a federal budget, which opposition parties complain should have been presented before Parliament went on summer break. A statement from the finance minister's spokesperson said the government is making targeted investments to support the middle class, adding, "We remain committed to a responsible fiscal approach, one that strengthens Canada's position as the strongest, most resilient economy in the G7.
There's not a lot of waste.
Public service unions warn if the government starts to cut jobs, Canadians will feel it.
You know, you look at the various departments like National Defence, Indigenous Services Canada, Statistics Canada, Health Canada, you know, those are not departments you're cutting. They are providing key services to Canadians day in, day out.
Other public service unions confirm thousands of jobs have already been cut, and they warn Canadians will feel the effects when they apply for a passport and file their taxes. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
An Alberta couple believes they may have captured video of a rare phenomenon called ball lightning. Some experts think there may be another explanation for what it was. CTV's John Venevalley Rao has more on the dramatic display of Mother Nature.
While thunderstorms can produce all sorts of spectacular displays, what this Alberta couple saw this week was truly next level.
What is it?
Capturing this bizarre and brilliant ball of light moving across the horizon.
It's like a fireball, but not really. It's the wrong color.
They say the spectacle lasted about a minute and began with a bolt of lightning that struck just under a kilometer from their home. Ed Party says it spawned the display.
It was probably anywhere from 1 meter to 2 meters in diameter, so it was fairly large. And then, I don't know, about 20 feet above the ground.
The couple were amazed and scrambled to film it with a phone.
I was like, what is this? I've never seen this before. No, it was pretty neat.
A neat sight that had Ed immediately wondering if it was the mysterious thing he'd read about as a kid called ball lightning.
After we shut the video off and it disappeared, I'm like, oh, so that's what that looks like.
For more than a century, there have been reported sightings of rare and strange floating energy balls that are said to have even gone into people's homes. Though several supposed videos of ball lightning have been debunked as fakes.
We've got this
really bright light out here.
We asked longtime storm chaser George Karunas for his opinion.
If this is indeed ball lightning, this is one of the best ball lightning videos I've ever seen.
But he wonders if what we're seeing is the result of lightning hitting a power line and an arc of electricity traveling along it.
This exhibits all the characteristics of a persistent, slow-moving, arcing power line.
Ed and Melinda doubt that.
Definitely not.
No, it's a long ways away from a power line.
And they say no matter what this is, it was cool to see. Jonathan Valley-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Today, the U.S. is celebrating the July 4th holiday, but President Donald Trump is already looking ahead to next year when the country turns 250. A massive party is in the works, including a UFC fight on the White House grounds.
We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little... We're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also.
Trump has long-standing ties to the franchise and its CEO, Dana White. The friendship goes back more than 2 decades, with White having been a vocal supporter of Trump through his recent election campaign. Famed competitive eater Joey Jaws Chestnut has reclaimed the mustard belt at the annual Coney Island hot dog eating contest.
3, 2, 1, go!
Chestnut consumed 70 and a half hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes to win the contest for the 17th time. He later apologized to the crowd, saying he wished he had eaten a couple more. Chestnut missed last year's contest because of a contract dispute. He is the all-time record holder, eating 76 wieners in 2021. In the women's division, defending champion Miki Sudo won her 11th title today. She finished off 33 hot dogs. That was down from her record-setting performance a year ago when she ate 51. Still ahead, from floorboards to counters.
These heritage homes are kind of this record of Calgary's culture.
An Alberta designer shares his heritage house remodel in hopes of getting more homeowners to follow his lead. Plus,
CCUS technologies will be an essential part of this, presenting tremendous opportunity for clean growth.
Federal government spending millions to help Alberta's carbon capture industry. And there's a beautiful shot from the CTV drone of Commonwealth Stadium shining in the Friday evening sun. The Edmonton Elks are playing there on Sunday evening, hosting the Ottawa Red Blacks. Hopefully the weather holds. Stay with us. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 73 cents to the American dollar. Oil lost 50 cents to close at $66.50 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained $3.60 on the day. The TSX was up 1 point. The Dow Jones was closed for the 4th of July holiday. The Vincenti Marino brand of anchovy fillets is being recalled due to histamine. The recall notice says the product was distributed in multiple provinces, including Alberta. Histamine is a chemical released by the immune system. Too much can cause a reaction in various parts of the body, leading to symptoms including bloating, diarrhea, congestion, hives, headaches, and fatigue. The company says there have been reported reactions associated with consuming the anchovies. Anyone who bought the product should throw it away or return it to the store. Ottawa is spending almost $22 million on Alberta-based carbon capture utilization and storage technologies. This gas extraction plant in Cochrane will be one of 5 projects in the province to get money for the Made in Canada tech. The goal is to capture 40,000 tons of CO2 emissions a year. That's roughly the equivalent of taking more than 12,000 cars off the road every year.
Canada is asserting its position in the world as a nation capable of stepping up to the challenge. Taking responsibility to be masters of our own home, CCUS technologies will be an essential part of this, presenting tremendous opportunity for clean growth.
Enbridge will also get $4 million. Enhance Energy will receive $5 million for separate storage hubs in central Alberta. As Alberta's 2 biggest cities grow, much-needed homes are being built in the form of infills. Now, some are making sure important history isn't being knocked down. Tim Brooke explains.
Matthew Kennedy's 1913 Parkdale home came with some extra documentation.
Okay, so this is the photo album the previous owners left me.
The family who used to live here really cared about these walls, and so when they left, they wanted them preserved.
You know, I think we got like a good deal on the house, and part of that deal was that we would designate the house as a heritage resource.
And Kennedy has redesigned and remodeled everything from the floorboards to the counters to the bathrooms.
These heritage homes are kind of this record of Calgary's culture. The fact that they're getting torn down so quickly, it makes these houses even more important.
Now he's asking Calgarians who live in pre-1945 builds to look into getting a designation. Heritage Calgary runs the municipal program and says applications have been picking up, but still, only about a quarter of the 4,000 potential heritage asset homes have been officially listed.
I think a lot of property owners feel that designation is very restrictive as to what they can do, and that's one of the barriers for designation.
Homes that are designated are eligible for preservation, property tax breaks, and other special grant funding. And the benefits aren't just material.
People living in thriving and connected neighborhoods is really important for people's health, for people's socioeconomic well-being, just for people's general vibrancy.
Both outside and in.
When I see like a block of like the modern same home, it makes you a little bit sad. I don't know. I feel like you have to have heritage in the city.
Of course we need high density, we need affordable housing, mixed residential, but heritage homes are invaluable to neighborhoods like this.
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
A winner has been crowned in this year's Bike Month Challenge. Nolan Reddy cycled more than 1,000 kilometers in the month of June. The challenge is hosted by the Edmonton Federation of Community Leagues. There is a new twist this year with the addition of a scavenger hunt. He successfully traveled to all 60 local community league facilities, landmarks and local businesses that were included in the hunt.
It was a good way to explore the city and find different locations, but it was also nice to win.
But I think that just goes to show you what incredible things you can achieve when people, pull together, or in this case, pedal together.
Along with Reddy, more than 1,000 riders from 32 community leagues competed in the challenge. A collective 142,000 kilometers were covered throughout the hunt. Coming up, a reality TV watch party proves to be a big hit for downtown Edmonton bar.
We sold out of all the entries at the dorm, and that's 130 people, and now we're over 150.
What the crowds gathered to watch and when there may be another party coming up.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV, starting at 7 with E-Talk.
The Oilers' watch parties during the Stanley Cup playoffs were sellouts. Now there's a new watch party seeing record crowds.
We sold out of all the entries at the dorm, and that's 130 people, and now we're over 150.
A watch party for Love Island was held last night at Central Social Hall on Jasper Ave. The American dating reality show is based on the British series of the same name. The organizer of last night's event says her goal was for fans to come together to embrace the drama and form connections just like in the show. A local psychologist says events like this can really bring people together.
There's a synergistic effect of the emotions and the energy that happens in a room when we're all doing the same thing. And so there's a real sense of unity.
The show has broken records as the #1 reality show in the United States across all streaming platforms. Another watch party will be held at Central Social Hall next month for the reunion. And thank you very much for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit ctvnewsedmonton.ca or the CTV channel on YouTube.